What's up all of you grass and electric types? While I do think this gen is really reliant on Gen 1, this gen has a shockingly good selection of Pokemon to me. I like most of them. Johto Pokemon have the issue of being strangely introduced when Johto was, but not being all that common. Like Houndoom is found in Kanto in those games, for fuck's sake. That said, I love Johto even if I am burnt out on Kanto. No legendaries for this list. Let's jump into it. Donphan is a Pokemon I have not used yet. I already know when I play through Pokemon Hearts Gold I'm gonna get one, and after that it might get higher on this list. People complain modern designs involve too many objects with Pokemon, but this thing is part tire. Honestly, that is somehow a badass mix with an elephant, even though it shouldn't be. The design is relatively simple, but it's so distinct, and I tend to be a massive fan of that kind of character design. Considering I hear Marill spoken about a lot, Azumarill seems relatively kicked to the side. I guess it is considered Pika Blue, and Raichu isn't exactly anywhere near as close to Pikachu's popularity. This is mostly a Pokemon I use in the Gen 3 games, but it's still a Gen 2 Pokemon, much like how I use Skarmory. This thing feels like it takes hits like a tank. I might be wrong, but that combined with its simple and cute design makes it a Pokemon that always has my attention to some degree. As someone that tends to avoid early route bird Pokemon, Heart Gold and Soul Silver are basically games where I need to have Crowbar as a Pokemon on my team so that I can fly around and actually like the Pokemon I'm flying on. Crowbar somehow took the Zubat evolutionary chain and made it badass. Previous evolutions I'd felt indifferent to, or maybe I'd even have some deep, dark, secret built-in hatred due to all the caves and all of the Zubats and Goldbats, and if it wasn't for the fact that this Pokemon exists, I would have gone insane ages ago, and I would have killed all of the Goldbats, and I would have killed all of the Zubats, and then there would have been nothing left, so none of them could have bothered me in the caves again. Or maybe I would have been indifferent to them. Seriously though, caves and water are so much better now without having to use repels to avoid random encounters. That part's better, the cave designs themselves. Ugh, that's a topic for another day. The sheep that doesn't really look that much like a sheep since it's resembling one that's been sheared, and the wool on a sheep is like the one notable feature of them. Ampharos is a very solid electric type to join any team that gives it a chance to shine. Because Lighthouse, because Electric, because this is both a Pokemon video and a video I'm making, so of course there has to be some really terrible pun or joke in there somewhere. With possibly one of the dumbest faces in Pokemon history, this water ground type is one I love, due partially to how dumb it looks. It's also a damn good typing. I mean, it might be 4 times weak to grass, but other than that, Quagsire performs brilliantly in every game I've used it in. This Pokemon may stare into my soul, but it's made its way into my heart. Despite having far from great stats, anywhere really, I find Lantern an amazing Pokemon to use in Heart Gold or Soul Silver. The issue with Lantern for me is that the electric overlaps with Ampharos, and the water type crosses over with Quagsire, not to mention water being the most common type in Pokemon and a starter choice. Oh crap, I mentioned it! Oopsie! With a weird mask design on its face, making it look heroic, almost superhero-like, this beautifully designed Pokemon somehow looks tough and adorable instead of terrifying like the animal that inspired it. Easily one of my favourite pseudo-legendary Pokemon. Honestly, I was struggling to know where to put this thing, mostly because I am always really underleveled in Pokemon, because I enjoy it. Because of this, I rarely get a chance to use a pseudo in its final stage. That said, this final stage is absolutely monstrous, and I wish Pokemon wouldn't limit their new pseudo legendaries to just dragon types. One of the reasons I have never struggled badly with Whitney, you can find this Pokemon early on, and fully evolved early on, Pokemon are at an advantage early on. This is without a doubt one of my favourite bug types of all time, though outside of Gen 5 it's not like we get a ton of great bug types in my opinion with each new game. We usually get like one good one. This pocket monster has a sleek design, and while it's obvious he's a beetle, or dung beetle, it takes that concept and makes it a tough, cute Pokemon. Up there as one of my favourite evolutions. I adore this Pokemon. I try to make this and my number one both Pokemon I pick when I play the Johto remakes. The most satisfying part of using this Pokemon in those games is if I have an Espeon at that point, then clearing out Team Rocket grunts is far less tedious, and I just feel the sheer power this Pokemon blasts its foes with. On top of this is basically a starter in Pokemon Colosseum, but Umbreon has a disgusting level up moveset in those games, so it makes Espeon stand out even more to me. I'ma quickly go over the honourables, and there were quite a few this time. Houndoom, I have only ever used in Pokemon XD, because this Pokemon is a nightmare to find. Why it's limited to Kanto in Gen 2 and the Gen 2 remakes, I will never understand. Ursaring I adore, and was the toughest member of my Gale of Darkness team. He just didn't quite make it though. Meganium and Feraligatr are both Pokemon I love the designs of, but there's plenty of other water type options, and Meganium is generally quite poor to use at the beginning of a playthrough. Umbreon was close, but its style of fight is just not for me personally, even if it looks brilliant and has an even better looking shiny. Skarmory is another I've used a ton, mostly in Gen 3 though, but I really like using it, and currently it just didn't make the list. But I can easily see my mind changing in the future about that. Almost definitely the most controversial Pokemon for being on this list, even in the honourables, Gramble. I really like this Pokemon. That's it, that's enough on Gramble. Typhlosion. I freaking adore this Pokemon for so many reasons. I generally like Fire-type starters the most. The entire line is great, and I use this Pokemon almost every time I'm in Johto. Johto, to my memory, doesn't exactly have a ton of great Fire-type options, and Typhlosion just shreds for everything. While it does have a very disappointing 3D model, I have only ever used the 2D sprites, and that fiery back of the neck is one of the most badass things I've seen in all of Pokemon. It might not have been my first or even second starter, but damn do I love this one to bits. This is quite possibly my favourite starter Pokemon ever. But that's all for this video anyway. Let me know your favourite Gen 2 Pokemon in the comments and why. The why is important to me, because I do read the comments. And until next time, bye I guess.